I know they've got their reasons. They'll say there's disadvantaged girls in Aboriginal communities that need better access, and they'll have their rationale for it, but that's not the reason they're doing it. The reason they're doing it is to flash their credentials in front of the woke brigade and everyone that wants to rip the institutions down, like Christian values, family values, traditional family values. That's what it's all about. And yep, and all I can say is that's one of the reasons the KP exists, to be the counterpoint to this in Parliament, and not sit back there passively and just say, oh yeah, we're opposed to it, but not say anything about it.
Last week, the Queensland State Government put forward a bill proposing changes to the state's abortion laws. What are your views on that?
Well, firstly, this is the ongoing culture war that the Labor Party in Queensland plays right in the hands of the woke brigade and all the others that line up to tear down every institution we've got that protects family, to protect the innocent, like the unborn babies. Well, in fact, you can include in here born babies, because there's they estimate around 500 babies born on the table left to die every year in Australia. So the state government like to flash their credentials before an election and show that they're pro-abortion, and to do that, they've taken federally, the TGA has lifted restrictions on accessing the medical abortion pills. So now there won't just be a doctor that can prescribe the pills. It will be a midwife or a nurse can do that. And I think what you've got to take into account there is that there's a lot of scrutiny there for a good reason. And what we've always argued around these abortion laws is not that fundamentally we just disagree with them in principle in the KAP, but quite simply, if you took an agnostic approach to it, there's no support, there's no mandatory supports built in before or after an abortion for the mother. So we're not focused at all on the health of her or whether she's making the right decision. There's no, there's no real rigor around that. And that what we need, what they're focused on, is just making the whole process easier. And that's not always going to produce, we would say is intolerable altogether. But even if you took an agnostic approach to this, that's not going to produce the best outcome for the mum, even if you think it does. And there's just so many reasons why it can produce a bad outcome. And trying to make that easier and more accessible just puts the mother, not just the child that you intend on killing, it's the amount of stress and risk that places back upon the mother is perhaps immeasurable. So doing that, but here's the other one that's built into all that. While they're at it, they had to still nail their colours to the mast further and say in these amendments they've put, let's change the reference from woman to a person in there, because that's really important. And because all the people that aren't women that have babies these days, that just absolutely defies logic and biology. But so why you'd have to change the word woman in there is really just goes against everyone's sense of logic. But then it goes on to say, and there's reasoning it's also to allow transgender or gender diverse people to access termination services, which again, there's someone, my line of thinking just seems so difficult to comprehend the logic behind that. So someone that's not a woman would have a problem with an act on abortion. Biologically, it's impossible for anything else than a woman to have a baby. So why this would be important? But I think that's because this is not really about saving or helping anyone. This is about flashing credentials to win the vote from woke people that want to tear down every institution we've got, whether it be it in the family structure, the Christian values. And that's what this is about. And which is why KAP is always quickly on the front foot to be the pushback on these sorts of issues.
How angry do you think women should be over that change? Over the fact that they are taking reference to women out of the legislation. I mean, childbirth is, as you said, something that only a woman can experience, and yet the legislation that relates to that, women has simply been removed. I mean, how angry should women be about this?
Well, it's a good question. It's one of the ultimate dividing lines between the male and female biology is that they're given that wonderful benefit of creating life within their body, within their womb, and they're now being denied, or perhaps being denied is not the right turn of phrase, but they're being watered down in their acknowledgement as being having the mortgage over that and being told, well, no, you don't have to just be a woman that can have a baby. So it really devalues, I guess, that special role that women have and that we've honoured for eons and for millennia, and it just goes against so many fundamental truths in biology and the way we function as society. So it's it's very disappointing that state Labor in Queensland's they're not attending to the cost of living or the crime. They felt like this is a necessary piece of legislation they need to put into Parliament to help people. I know they've got their reasons. They'll say there's disadvantaged girls in Aboriginal communities that need better access, and they'll have their rationale for it, but that's not the reason they're doing it. The reason they're doing it is to flash their credentials in front of the woke brigade and everyone that wants to rip the institutions down, like Christian values, family values, traditional family values. That's what it's all about. And yep, and all I can say is that's one of the reasons the KP exists, to be the counterpoint to this in Parliament, and not sit back there passively and just say, oh yeah, we're opposed to it, but not say anything about it or not go on the front foot. But we're willing to go right on the front foot and say it loud and proudly declare our position on this, and whatever the cost is to us in the media or with with a lot of the city urban inner city that cast judgment on us like that. It's okay. People need to be strong, explicit in their position on this, and some might divide some, and it might lose us a few votes here and there. But it's very important to us that people know these are core to our values and the core values of the KAP, and that we will fight that anything that comes to the Parliament accordingly.